Well, hello, First Assembly family. I'm here in the sanctuary spending some time with the Lord, praying, reading the Word, thinking about how good He is. And I'm drawn to the story of Jericho, maybe because we shared that story with kids recently, and it's been on my heart and been on my mind, because it's not a kid's story. It's not a story that's best left in Sunday school or children's church. The story of Joshua and Jericho is the story of God's principle of faith and victory. You know, God calls us to go into the promised land, and the promised land is not heaven. The promised land is living in victory here on earth, living in the promises that God has given to us. We can live in the promised land here and now. And you've got to trust in His promises, even in the face of obstacles. Jericho is a symbol, a foreshadow of the obstacles that we're going to face. And they seem daunting. They seem large. They seem difficult. But remember, God's power is fully revealed when we come to our weakness. When we acknowledge that the obstacles are too much for us, when we acknowledge our weakness, then He is strong. And so Joshua was faced with this obstacle in front of him, and yet God said, I want you to trust me. You're faced with obstacles in front of you. God says, trust me. And that obstacle is not going to be taken away immediately. For Joshua, that obstacle took 7 days of faith. And the victory on day 7 started with the first step on day 1. The victory of day 7 started with faith on day 1. You may be facing an obstacle and your victory is days, weeks, months away. But it takes faith today. Faith to step in, face that obstacle, confront it in the faith that God has given you. When God says, walk around that city and trust me, you take that by faith. You walk around that obstacle and you say, God, you have been given me a victory. You've been my victorious conqueror ever since I met you, and I'm going to trust you from this day forward. You've got to face the obstacles with faith. Hebrews chapter 11 says, by faith, the walls of Jericho came down. Listen, God moves as we have faith. Had they just sat there waiting for God to do something, the walls would not have come down. They operated in faith, walking around the city, blowing the trumpet. Then God moved to destroy the walls. I'm encouraging you today, live a life of faith. Get up each morning, look at the obstacles, say, God, I know that you've called me to live in the promised land, in every promise that you've given to me. I don't know what will happen when you deal with this obstacle. I don't know the timetable, but I'm going to walk by faith. I'm going to claim your promises. I'm going to activate the faith that's in my heart to live this life so that you may get the glory. I'm weak, but He is strong. The faith that destroyed Jericho was activated day 1. The victory came day 7. Trust the Lord. Trust the Lord this morning. Walk in faith.